Hello my beautiful MK Love fam, welcome back to another episode. This is a really special episode today where I'm going to be sharing the birth story of my daughter Belle, Amethyst Lucid. She was born on the 25th of February 2021. I know this is a long time coming. I'm 9 months postpartum. I now feel ready to share because I had to get myself right. There was a lot that was happening in my postpartum. You can check my life update video. There's a previous video before this, or you can just check it on the end screen at the end of this one. While I give you my update of everything that I've been through. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, that's for sure. So to give you a little gist about how I even got to this stage, I need to mention that I have suffered with childhood trauma. I think that's very important to mention because that heavily affects the way we birth. Yeah, it does. And what is brought up to the surface during pregnancy, during labor, during the birth, and postpartum. There's a lot involved in it. So yeah, before I get into all of that, so let me just say that I free-birthed Belle. Free-birth is a term that I had no idea what the flip that meant. Oh, let me just check. Am I recording audio? Yes. So I free-birthed her. That means I birthed outside the medical system. No midwives, no doctors, no hospitals, any of that. Why? Why did I choose that? Well, I wanted it to be 100% my responsibility, and I wanted to birth Belle into the world in which I thought was the best for her and for me, and I wanted to have full autonomy over that. I didn't want anyone intervening. I didn't want any fear mongering to go on. I wanted it to be me. I wanted to be in my center. I wanted to be connected to the angelic realm and my ancestors. I think birth is just a really sacred thing, let's be honest. It's a very sacred spiritual experience, and I only wanted people in that birth place that I knew were not going to sabotage my birth, to be honest. So it was my husband and my doula. That is it. My mom actually wanted to be present at the birth, and I said no. I just didn't want. Let me talk about that right now. So a month before I gave birth to Belle, my mom told me that she didn't agree with the way in which I was choosing to birth. She didn't think it was safe. She thought I needed a midwife. She didn't understand this physiological birth. She didn't understand any of that, and that was part of her journey. She birthed me, which we'll talk about in another video, because births are so interesting. How you're born into this world actually sets you up for who you are as people going forth. So that was really challenging that my mom said she didn't agree with it, and I was like, okay, well, you don't have to agree with it, but she just didn't support it. And I was like, right, that is a red flag. Then I cannot have communication with you because I need to be in a high vibrational state, because this birth is on me. If anything goes wrong, it's on me, and I need to be, do you know what I'm trying to say? I need to be in a higher vibrational state so I could channel and to be in sync, in rhythm, and open, free, and I needed the ultimate surrender, and I needed the right type of unconditional support, and my mom wasn't showing that, and that's really sad to say, like your own mom not supporting your birth. And mom, if you're watching this is my story. I'm going to be sharing it. I know you probably don't appreciate this, but this is part of my story. And if I really feel like if my mom knew about how babies are born and the process, the untouched way that you're birthed. Like I was birthed into this world with over a 30-hour labor my mum had went through with me. I was born with forceps and one of those suction cap things. And I'm like, what? And she birthed on her back. And I knew straight away when she said that, I was like, that is not the optimal positioning for birthing a baby naturally. And yeah, so I free birthed Belle in our house. And it was the most incredibly wild, transformative, spiritual transcendence, awakening, it's just all of these things, and intense experiences I've ever had in my whole entire life. And I'm so excited to share it with you because I've been waiting for this for ages, yeah. Let me just see, I've got some notes on my whiteboard right now. Oh yeah, before I get into all of that, let's talk about Belle. So I connected with her spirit about a year before she was, just over a year before she was conceived. And I knew that she was coming close. She kept coming up in my dreams, and I told her as she was coming up, help me to release whatever, like, show me what I need to know. And she actually brought to the surface my sexual abuse from that 4-year toxic narcissistic relationship that I had when I was like 18. And she brought that to the surface during one of my one-on-one calls with one of my clients who had suffered sexual abuse. And so she helped me heal that, and we basically were able to talk to each other. And the way that we communicated before she was conceived is that I would journal and she would take over my pen and she would just talk and I would just write, and it was like we're having like communication back and forth with each other, which is just wild when you think about it, that I didn't even know that that was possible. And I'm so grateful that I had that with her before she was born. And then she was conceived during an eclipse. An eclipse is a karmic, powerful event. And when she was conceived, it didn't line up with my ovulation window to when, like, there was no possible way, logically, that she could have been conceived when she was, from when she was conceived to when, do you know what I'm trying to say? I can't figure out the right words. But anyway, she came through and she's like, here I am, baby. Oh, sad, feel delivered, I'm yours. Wow. Anyways, so she came through, which is kind of like, oh shit. And then my pregnancy was kind of wild. I was so sick at the beginning. Literally, I don't know how I was able to work with clients. I literally prayed for an hour and a half for me to just feel good, and I'm like sipping on juice while I'm working with my clients. And then I got and then in the second trimester I got interstitial cystitis, and on the third trimester I had iron deficiency anemia and had to go to hospital. I got this huge ass growth that just appeared, like a 3-centimeter growth that appeared on me, and then I had really bad sciatica and like all this kind of stuff. I didn't really enjoy pregnancy, but what I'm really grateful for is that it showed me what I missed. Just, you know, when your hormones aren't like through the roof. So I'm grateful for it, but I have a lot of awareness and knowledge in which I'll apply if I decide to have another child. Because I'm not sure. I thought I'd be like, you know, I'm having 3 kids, blah, 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 pop them out, get them close together. Because like my sister and I are 14 months apart. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not ready. No, no, no. I'm still healing 9 months postpartum. So, blah, blah, blah. Wow, the other way that I used to communicate with Belle is I go to flotation therapy. Like, you know, when it's like a sensory deprivation, you're like lying in a tank full of magnesium salt. And because there's so much salt in there, you're very buoyant. And I just like lay there and I just use that time to just chat with her. Plus it was a really good relief from my back pain when I was pregnant with her. What else happened? The other thing that I did is I made sure I reprogrammed my subconscious mind with higher vibrational thoughts. How did I do that? I started listening to positive birth stories everywhere I could get it. I followed the Positive Birth Company on Instagram. I found them from watching Louise Pentland when she birthed her little girl, Pearl, like 3 years ago now. And I heard Louise talk about it, and I was like, oh, if Louise can do it, then I can do it. But I always knew that I would birth my baby with hypnosis, you know, and which is kind of wild when you think about it. I just knew, like, probably about 10 years ago, I just knew that that was how I was going to birth my baby. It was just, that was it. And yeah, so then what else happened? What else do I have here? Oh yeah, so with reprogramming my subconscious mind, I bought the digital pack from the Positive Birth Company, not affiliated. Highly recommend if you're pregnant, if you're a pregnant mama, oh my gosh, do yourself a favor, check out their prenatal one. I don't really recommend the postnatal program. I think there's a lot of flaws in it. But then I feel like postpartum, there's just so much to say in that. Anyways, I'm going to get to the birth. Just hold your horses. I hope you made a cup of tea. So I did all of the affirmations. I went through the whole video program, helping to understand how the body is designed to birth. And that blew my mind. And then once I had that knowledge is power. I was like, man, I can do this. And I knew that I could birth her by myself. And I knew that I needed to create a safe environment, an environment in which I felt safe and secure. Because it's like, if you're going to birth, it's like as intimate as like doing a poo or having sex. And you need to make sure that there's not a bazillion people around, or people like checking to see how far you're dilated. I just think that, like, why would you want someone to shove their finger in your vagina in your most vulnerable moments? Like, I don't agree with that, and that wasn't something I was going to subscribe to. And I knew that I could trust my body. I've done a lot of work on healing myself, and I knew I was going to get to the stage where I could do this by myself and take that power back from our ancestors. I remember reading the book Jessica from Bryce Courtney, and at the end of the book when she births in a creek, and it was just the way, I don't know if you've read that book, but it was, I don't know even what time it was set in, but it was like a long time ago where you were more primitive in the way that you were birthing. Like, women were exiled from the community if you were not married. And she was basically, her family sent her away so that no one knew that she was pregnant, and she birthed her baby in the river by herself. And I don't know, something from that book, wild. I don't even read Bryce Courtney books now. I read like astrology and human design and anything self-help. But that really stuck with me. And I kind of reconnected back to my ancestors, and I was like, I've done this before. Like, I can do this. I just have to channel in. I have to be in the right vibrational state. I need to understand physiologically how the body births a baby. And what I need to do is to relax and to be an open vessel to allow my baby to come through. And that's exactly what I did. So, are you ready for the story? Na, 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 na. What else did I have to say? Da, na, na. Everything else is like, oh, that's the other thing. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment, right, in a block of 8 units, and walls are thin here. I can hear my neighbors behind me pee in the morning. I can hear the coffee machine of the guy at the next thing. I can hear everything, and I didn't want to have my baby in our house. Number one, it's small. Where are you going to put a birthing pool? And I didn't want anyone to hear me birth. And when I went to my abdominal therapy, this beautiful healer that works in a geodesic dome in the hills in Adelaide in South Australia where I live, and she was like, well, why do you care? What's that? Why do you know? And I feel like for me, being raised in a house of codependency and narcissistic abuse, you get really good at hush, keeping things quiet. But I also feel like, why did I want to birth her by myself, like, so no one could hear? I'm still trying to figure that out. I need to journal on that more. But anyways, so I didn't want to birth her here because I didn't want people to hear. So I booked an Airbnb, and I made sure that I found a beautiful place in nature, floor to ceiling windows, just lush, and just felt like I could just be me and not have to worry. So Belle told me she was going to be born on the 3rd of the 3rd, 333, the 3rd of March, 2021, 333. And I was like, amazing, numerology, 333, fabulous. So I booked the Airbnb around that time, gave myself 7 days. She came early. She was like, ha ha ha, mama, I tricked you. I know that you feel more safe and secure at home. She came a week before she told me she was going to come, and I was a bit like, the fuck? So she came, I went into labor on the 24th, right? She was born on the 25th. I went into labor, where's my notes here? I went into labor at 11:30 a.m. I was literally sitting down at my desk, literally right here. I was organizing my tax. I'm like, I got a week until the baby's born. I've meal prepped everything. So I was literally sitting down, and I had to do my tax, and I had to just I had to make the falafels. That was the last thing that I had to do. She came a week early. So I'm literally sitting there, and I get this gush of blood. I was like, oh shit, what is this? there's my mucus plug going. So that happened at 11:30. Literally, it just felt like you got your period. And I was like, oh God, okay. Call my doula. Well, my husband messaged her on WhatsApp and said, this is what's going down. She's like, oh, okay, yep, keep me updated. And then from like 12:07, the surges started coming. And I was like, oh yeah, yep, I'm just walking around the house, you know, maybe Braxton Hicks, blah, 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 walking around. Started tracking it on the Freya app. That's from the Positive Birth Company. Buy it if you are pregnant. The Freya app, it will change your mind. It's literally, it prepares you for hypnobirth, but you literally press the button when you have a surge. I don't say contractions because that means like restrictive. I changed my language around it and it's had surges. So every time I had a surge, I press the button and it goes breathe in, breathe out for 8. And I knew from doing the program that I have 60 seconds of this pain. And I was like, manageable. It's manageable. And I was, you know, breathing in, doing all of that, walking around the house, and I started bouncing on the gym ball. I was like, oh shit, things are ramping up. They're getting a little intense. Then what else happened? 3:15, active labor started. That's when you hit 3 to 4 centimeters. Okay. So by this stage, I was in the pool, I was in the shower, and I was basically using the pressure of the hose in the shower, and I would, what was I doing? No, that wasn't in the shower. Oh, when I was in the pool, I was using the pressure from the hose, and I would pinch the end of it and use it to, like, how do you call it? So it would spray out at me, but it would be hard. It wouldn't be like a trickling out. It'd be like two big things that would just go onto my uterus. And I used that to help balance the pain that came up as I was surging. And I was like, this is working fabulous. Until you're in the pool and there's a lot of water, and then your husband and your doula needs to start emptying it out as you start filling it. So that was kind of a little bit wild.
That's great. Oh, nice, man.
What else did I say? I've got Boo Toddalana, a doula. She made plans to come. I was in the shower and using the water pressure to relieve the thing. And I had to have a falafel. I've written that on my notes. Had to have a falafel because I knew you need to have fuel in your body. I wasn't hungry, but I knew that I needed energy. I made sure also that I was hydrated. You need to make sure that your oxygen is flowing and that you're hydrated. If you are not eating, you're not drinking, and you're not relaxing, then your muscles contract and your baby can come through. And I made sure that I was doing all of that. Okay, then what else? I've got intense back pain. Oh my God.
Okay, in beyond your body now. I feel like I keep encapsulating you in a yellow gold bubble. I see on the toilet. That's a really good spot to be. It hurts to watch to get all the toilet though. Yeah. I'm trying. Really helps your body. Your own inner goddess power. Yeah. You can fully believe in your inner guidance.
The intense back pain came, right? And I had never felt pain like that before, and it was pretty intense. I'm not going to beat around the bush for my birth, by the way. I'm literally going to tell you how it is so you can be prepared. If you don't want to listen to this, please just turn this off. But it is a positive story, let me just tell you that. So yeah, I had the intense back pain, and I figured out as I'm talking to my angels through all of these surges, and I was very calm throughout my whole birth. I need to mention that. I was very calm and collected, that it was pent up kind of, what's the word? What did I have here? Intense back pain. Yeah, okay, so this was around the time where I felt like unsupported by my mum, and I was pissed at her, honestly. Not the best energy to go into birthing by yourself, but that's where I was, and I have said to you a million times, I am where I am, and it's okay. It's okay that that happened. What's beautiful is that I had the power to shift that. So my angels told me, with all this pain, I was like bouncing on the ball, trying to do all this stuff. Oh my God, is that okay? Yeah. I was trying to get everything going, but then they said, go into the shower and text your mum. And I'm like squatting, this huge belly out in front of me, boobs out, and my phone is hanging from the shower head. And I'm trying to text my mum with one hand in between to say, Mum, I'm in labor. And that's all I needed to say. Oh, that's what I forgot to tell you, because the day I went into labor, my mum asked my husband how I was going, and I told her, do not communicate with me. I will let you know when Belle is here. And then she went around me to my husband, and I was like, pfft. So that's why I've got proof about that, because I was journaling on the morning that I went into labor, which is kind of nice to have that memory, but it was kind of like, my mum. So yeah, so the moment I texted her and I just told her that I was in labor, because I wanted to do it all by myself. I didn't want her to be involved. I just wanted to keep it separate, but my angels were saying, you need to contact your mom and tell her that you're in labor. And I told her, and then the pain stopped. It literally stopped the moment that I sent her that text, which is absolutely wild. Okay, then after that, I remember just sitting in the shower and asking my angels for help. And no, not help. I was just like asking just to surrender to this process. And the reason why that was happening is because I vomited after the release with my mum, I vomited. It was like the ayahuasca release. It was like the physical manifestation of releasing that toxic dynamic that we had. And it just became more clear again. What am I talking about now? Oh yeah, then I'm sitting in the shower and I start singing, I release control and surrender to the call of love that will heal me. And my husband and my doula and I were all singing that at the same time, and the acoustics of the bathroom and being dark with my little night light on in the bathroom, it was like a very beautiful moment where we're all singing together. That was really, really special. And then what else do I have after that? Oh yeah, then I vomited again, and then I was at the stage where I didn't know when I need to push. I kind of got to the stage, this is around 10:30 at night, where I was like, I'm not feeling any more surges. Do I need to push? Because I didn't feel the feeling to push, and I really wasn't sure about what was happening with my body. So I just went with it, and I said to the angels, I just need a break first because I'm exhausted to get to 10 centimeters. yeah, I just needed help when I need to push. So can you make me vomit so I know that I'm on the right path? And so I did, and then it got to the stage where I was beginning to push, but the breathing which I was taught from the Positive Birth Company, it didn't feel, it wasn't working. And I was like, what? I've been so relaxed, so open, been hydrated, making sure that I'm relaxed. I've been saying the affirmations. I had affirmations all around the house. And I'm like, this is not working. It doesn't feel right. And another thing that I noticed too is with the Freer app, once you get to 10 centimeters, there's no transition in the app to be like, okay, we're going to do the down breathing now for when you're ready to push. And I kind of felt abandoned in that moment, and I just didn't feel supported. And I don't know if that triggered something from my childhood, but it just didn't feel right. And I felt, abandoned. That's basically the word. I felt abandoned during that time. And so from the moment I got to 10 centimeters to when Belle was born, there was a 4-hour gap. And in that time, I had no concept of time, right? I was so calm and relaxed, and I was kind of like, I'm trying to breathe her down like I was taught. And it wasn't working, and I got to the point where I felt the energy of my husband and my doula going, this is taking a lot longer than we thought. They weren't trying to rush me or anything, but it was a vibration that I collectively felt from them. And I was like, okay. And then my doula said, what are you scared of? And I said, the pain. I could feel part of the pain as she was getting further down, and that scared me a little bit. And then that's when I went into fear for a little bit. And so I'm just trying to go through the motions. I'm breathing, I'm doing everything. But yeah, there was a bit of a gap. Long story short, my doula suggested that I start making like more primal noises to help like get her out. And I turned into a wild cat woman. And this was in the middle of the night because she was born at 2:27 a.m. And yeah, I didn't expect that. And I knew the moment that I was making those noises that I was like, this is not right for me. And I knew that I was going to tear. And I did. But I only teared 0.5 centimeter. So it was really nothing. But that kind of wasn't what I envisioned. But I had to go with it. And I literally got to the stage where I asked all of my ancestors who were there, all of my spirit guides, all of the spirits who have passed on, feel the throat chakra, there's still more healing to be done. I asked them for help, and I was like, I need you to help me, support me through this, because I'm trying to do this by myself and I'm having trouble. And there's no way that I was panicking at all through my whole labor and birth. I just knew that I needed more help from them. So I channeled into them and they helped me. And I had like literally my piano teacher, Mrs. Thompson, who passed, she was literally there, which is kind of amazing when you think about it, to be able to connect with spirits and help you. Like, there's only 2 people in the room, and it's like, obviously Belle and I were working together as a team, but to have that spiritual side of a birth is just, I think is just absolutely beautiful. Yes. And then as I'm doing all the roaring to roar my baba out, I could feel her head in my vagina, and I felt there's this thick layer of vernix, which is that white creamy stuff that protects their body when they're in fluid, so they don't look like a wrinkled up prune. And I could feel that, and I was like, oh, I get my little second wind. That reminds me of that Kelly Clarkson. When you're not looking, I was getting really higher. Say what you want about me, then I put some gasoline on my fire. You can hate me, underestimate me. Do what you do, cause what you do don't faze me. Just when you think I'm on the edge, that's when I get my second win. That's not really how the song goes, but I got my second win. And then after I felt it, what else did I have here? You could feel her head. Oh, and then I knew I was at the end when I could feel her. Oh, and my water broke actually. My water broke before her head came through, and I felt this gush of water, like liters of water just like gush out of me. And it's like, what do you, because people are like, oh yeah, it's not like what you see on the movies when they're like a gush of water comes out. I was in the pool, so I couldn't see it, but I could feel the pressure. It was so intense. I'm like, oh, that's when my water broke. And then when I could feel the head, the vernix on her head, then I could do another push, and then her head was out, and I was like, oh my God, it's so close. And there was literally another push, and then she was literally out. And when she came out, she was unconscious. Now, most people, when they would see their baby, they would freak out. I knew she was perfectly fine. A thought crossed my head, and I was like, hey, this is not a stillbirth. That's not written in the cards for our family. She's been talking to me for 2 years now. She's meant to be here. And so when she came out, it was probably because she was in the birth canal for a little bit longer than we had both spoken about. And so what happened was she came out, and there was no, her eyes were like rolling back in her head, and I was like, oh shit, what's going on? Anyways, I was talking to her, trying to be like, Mama's here, Baba. And then my doula ended up calling 000, which is the emergency service in Australia. And the lady told my doula then to tell me how to resuscitate her. So I was literally giving her mouth to mouth. I was rubbing her back vigorously. And before long, she was here. I was like, my Baba is here. Meanwhile, because she was on the phone to the emergency services, the ambulance had rocked up in our house. And when they did, our house was already as I said, I live in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Our living room literally had the birthing pool, and then the paramedics rocked up, opened the door, and they're like, oh. So then we had to turn the lights on, which was not in the plan, but she was already birthed and it was fine. Her pool was covered in blood, and they were just checking to see if she was okay, but they were the most gentle, sweet. The main guy was Shane. Absolute. I've always had such resistance with dealing with the medical system, but in that stage, the angels literally brought me the most kind, loving, sweet, feminine energy from that guy that I could have possibly asked for. And it was actually a really beautiful experience. They were checking to see Belle was okay, and they recommended we go to the hospital, but I knew that she was fine, and I was like, thank you so much, but you can go now. So my husband and my doula dealt with that, and then my doula actually took me into the shower. She's like, you need privacy to birth your placenta. You can't be doing this with people around you, right? Went into the shower, and I don't know how much time had passed from when she was born to when I birthed the placenta, but it came at the perfect time. And I was literally sitting on the little step on our in our shower, and then all of a sudden there was this bang, and the placenta just came out. I didn't have to push, it just came out, which was just wild. It's this huge friggin' thing. It's literally in my freezer right now. We're keeping the placenta until we find the perfect plant to plant it with, and that will be Belle's tree. I'm thinking a fruit tree, but I don't know what she likes yet, so we're kind of waiting to see what she likes. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, so I birthed the placenta, and then all of these blood clots came out, and I was like, I've never seen blood clots like this before. It blew my mind that was inside my tummy. And then I literally got the mirror to check out my vagina, to be like, oh, what does it look like now? And my doula came in, she's like, good Lord, you are brave. I was like, I just need to see what it looks like. I was just so curious, because being pregnant, you're constantly looking at your vagina, your vulva gets huge, it gets so puffy. It looks totally different when you're pregnant. If you're pregnant, take a photo of your vagina right now. And then looking at it post-birth, I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. Because all the labias were so stretched, but it all goes back, well, most of it anyway. It's just so interesting to look at the vagina. Yeah, so that was what happened. What else did I have here? Oh yeah, we had delayed cord cutting. We were actually going to do a lotus birth, which is where you literally keep the umbilical cord attached until it just falls off. But by the time we end up going to bed, which was like 5 a.m., I felt comfortable to cut the cord. Actually, I think my husband cut it, I'm not really sure. But for most of it, it was just a bucket in between my legs with this placenta in, and I'm like nursing my baby in bed. And yeah, and I asked Belle, I was like, are you ready to cut the cord for the placenta? We made sure all the blood came through. Do lots of research, and there's so many stem cells and iron and oxygen and all of the nutrients in that that's transmitted through the umbilical cord that sets your baby up for like their first year of life. Like all the iron your baby needs is in that supply. So if you're going to have your baby and cut it, not the best idea. But you do what works best for you. This is just what we did for our family. And yeah, then what else happened? And then my husband just put the nappy on. Well, Alana, our doula, showed Peter how to do it because I was just in bed. I was like, I'm not moving. Like I'm just sitting right here with, anyways. Yeah, and then we put her in between us and we co-slept to sleep. And yeah, it's kind of wild when you think about like how much has changed in that time. Like she's 9 months old now. She's weeing on a potty. She's talking. She's standing up now, eating solids, exploring. Like there's so much that happens, and it's such a special time. And I made sure going into my postpartum that I rested a lot. Which I am very grateful for, and I know how important it is to rest. Like I watched someone on YouTube the other day and they just had a baby. They're babies, they had twins, and then all of a sudden they're shopping and walking around and making a cake in the kitchen. I was like, you need to slow down. Women are designed to go within because it's a huge transformation. Oh, one wild thing. We went to bed like 6 a.m., right? This is on the 25th. She was born at 2:27. Went to bed around 6. When we woke up in the morning, oh, I lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah, when I woke up in the morning, my fingernails literally just grew overnight like half a centimeter. It was incredible. I just woke up and all of a sudden I just had fingernails because I'm a bit of a nail biter. These are not real. Which is a cycle I need to break because my dad bites his fingernails. And sometimes they look like his and not, but like, I am where I am and it's okay. But I am taking things one day at a time. So that's basically my story, my loves. It was the biggest spiritual transcendence. Oh, one thing I forgot to tell you is that just before I birthed her, I called on the energy of my mom, my dad, my brother, and my sister. My mom, obviously I told you what happened with that. My dad, I don't have a good relationship with my dad. To this date, he is MIA, living his best life. Forgot he's a father. I have a relationship with my brother, and my sister, I still don't have a relationship with her. So my sister doesn't know anything about this. So Em, if you're watching, yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it? You would think that you would have the support of your family. I think, yeah, I felt abandoned. I felt abandoned in my birth from my family. I felt abandoned in my pregnancy. But they are exactly where they need to be. You know, they're going through their own shit. And wherever you are in your journey with either being pregnant or whatever it is, release as much as you can so you don't bring that into your birth. And yeah, I hope this has helped you. If you have any questions, please let me know down below because I'm sure I've missed something. As I'm going through this video, I'm like, oh my God, I missed this, and this from my postpartum update, so I got to film more of them now. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. This is a 40-minute video. Oh, my belly boo is teething at the moment. She's got 2 teeth, about to get her next 2. So yeah, it's a wild journey. Motherhood is a wild journey. Take it one day at a time. Do your best that you possibly can. I know that I'm sending you healing vibes wherever you are in the world. And yeah, love to connect with you in the comments. If you're new to my channel, join the MK Love fam. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.